Hello, this is Gord Pollock. Welcome to video number 3 in our series on electronic bagpipes. Today what we're going to look at is using a small interface to record into our personal devices. One of the things that's become more and more obvious is that these devices are getting quite powerful, and even your iPhone has the ability to record and do a lot of interesting things for us, and we've always got them with us. So today we're going to look at a little unit called iRig, and these are available through Best Buy. I think a lot of music stores will carry these as well. They're originally designed for guitars, but with that cable that we looked at in video number 1, we have the ability to use this to run our electronic bagpipe in there too. So I'm going to go and hook it up to my red pipe here. Now I'm going to use GarageBand just because I'm a Mac user and I'm most familiar with that. I'm sure that there's programs on Android devices that allow you to record in it as well. But for the topic today, I'll use GarageBand, and I'm going to use it on an iPad just because I find that it's a little bit larger, a little bit easier to see. But the same program exists on iPhones as well, obviously. So let's go ahead and we'll open up GarageBand. And it's going to open up to, a template of songs that I've already recorded in there. I find that this tool is really useful for me as a pipe major to issue tunes for learning, and I can do that at different tempos as I want to. I think this is also really a valuable tool for people who like to compose, and if you got a little snippet that pops into your head, it's a really quick way to record things, and then you can go back and score out the music later, write it out later, but just a really good as a memory tool. I think recording is also a really valuable tool as a learning aid, for us practicing, to be able to go back and look critically at our playing, and I think that's a really good method to improve. So anyways, we've loaded up GarageBand. We want to start a new project, so we're going to go to that top right corner, the little plus button, and we're going to click on that. And it's going to bring up a number of, options, but we're going to use the audio recorder. I find that's the simplest one. Now, technically, you don't even need to use an interface. You could use the built-in microphone, but you're going to be susceptible to ambient noise and things like that around you. This is a much cleaner way to get our sound in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the audio recorder. And it's going to bring up a screen that looks like this. And so what we're going to need to do to make sure that we get sound coming out of here is we're going to go to the little jack indicator there. We're going to click that on, and we're going to click monitor. So now we can hear our sound. It's really important that we control. There's a little volume toggle on the side of this that we can change the volume up or down. But it's really important that we don't overload things. We don't want to get to that red version, otherwise we could introduce some distortion. So we're going to keep it in the green zone. So, turn that off for a second here. The next thing you're going to need to do as well is, GarageBand is designed to record in 8-bar loops. And so if you want to record for a longer time period, you're going to have to go to the little plus in the top corner here, click that on. We're going to go to section A that normally says set to 8 bars, and we're going to select automatic. And what that's going to do is allow us to record for any length of time that we want. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the metronome off because I don't want a click going on in the background. That might be useful in some cases if you're wanting to record to a click, but I find that a little bit distracting. So I'm going to turn that off. And now we're ready to record. So we're going to hit the red button for record. It's going to give us a 4-count intro. Okay, finish recording. When we go to the icons along the top here to see our waveform, we're going to collect the second one over. Looks like a little brick wall. And it's going to bring us up a copy of the waveform. And we could play that back. Okay, but also in some cases you may not be happy with what you've recorded. If you tap on the waveform to highlight it, double tap, it's going to bring you up your options. You can delete this. You could loop it if you wanted to have other sections added on to the end of it. But the other thing that it's really good at doing is you can actually edit. So I'm going to move my playhead along here near to the end, and I'm going to split. Going to bring up a little scissor tool there, so you can trim that end of the recording off that may just be the last little bit that you don't necessarily want on there. Roll your scissor down. Now we can highlight that little spot again. And now we can actually delete that portion. Okay, so you can tidy it up as much as you want. When you're ready to, you hit the little page icon on the top left-hand side, and it's going to save it. Now you can go into that file. It's been saved as My Song 3. You can hold, and now it'll open you up all kinds of things you can do. You can rename that piece. Let's call it Troy's. And we'll save. Now you can also choose directly from here. Let's hold on it again until our options come up again. We can go down to the share icon down the bottom, and it'll ask us if we want to send it as a song, a ringtone, or as a project. Now, for other people listening to this, they're not going to want to open it in GarageBand, so you're going to want to send it as a stereo song. And it's going to ask you to pick your quality. I usually send it as a high quality. You'll send it as an MP4, which most people can open on their phones. Click share, and it immediately will take you into the options. You can share it via an AirDrop. You can share it on email. There's a number of ways to do that. Let's go ahead and open up email. And of course, I don't have an email account loaded onto the iPad right now. But that's a simple way. It'll bring up the file. You can actually share it via email that way very simply. Okay, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a tool to use for personal recording and maybe a little bit of editing. And that's great. Thanks for joining me.